Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving straight into the high-stakes reality of commercial construction in one of the absolute most competitive markets in the country, Culver City, California. Whether you're planning a cool new restaurant downtown, an office build-out near the Hayden Tract, or a retail storefront, the partner you choose to swing the hammers is going to dictate your life for the next 12 to 24 months. So we're unpacking exactly what it takes to survive and, actually thrive in this highly unique landscape.
Okay, let's dive into this. When you map out your project budget, you might be really tempted to just hunt for the absolute lowest bidder. I mean, we all want to save money, right? But here is the quiet reality. Hiring the wrong contractor can quietly add six figures to your project budget. Yes, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in hidden costs, sudden change orders, and totally unexpected fixes.
And honestly, the pain doesn't stop at your wallet. Alongside that massive financial hit, the wrong fit can also cost you 6 full months of delays. Think about that. That's half a year of paying rent on an unopened space while your business just sits in limbo. This makes finding the exact right construction partnership absolutely vital for your business's survival. The right contractor isn't just a builder. They actually become a true partner who protects your business while the build happens all around it. So, to help you avoid those nightmares, here is our roadmap for today. Section 1, the Culver City Challenge. Section 2, navigating the local landscape. Section 3, choosing your construction model. Section 4, vetting and evaluating bids. And finally, Section 5, costs and timelines. Let's get to it.
Section 1, the Culver City Challenge. Why building here requires a hyperlocal approach.
So you might look at a map and assume Culver City is just another neighborhood nestled inside Greater Los Angeles. But actually, scratch that, it is its very own independent municipality. It's got its own building department, its own planning department, and its own totally unique approval processes. It doesn't run on LA County timelines, and it sure doesn't run on City of LA timelines. A contractor who pulls permits every single day in Santa Monica or downtown LA, they are going to be significantly slower here than one who regularly works with Culver City officials. You really need someone who knows the local desk and has a current active relationship with the building department.
Section 2, navigating the local landscape. Let's talk about the specific quirks of these buildings. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that one of the quietest, most unpredictable variables in this market is the building stock itself. Culver City has a ton of charm, no doubt about it, but that charm comes from older inventory. We're talking converted warehouses, mid-century retail spaces, and post-war offices. When you tear down a wall in these kinds of spaces, you rarely find a perfect, modern, blank slate waiting for you. It's usually a whole different story. And that older building stock brings us right to these common upgrade triggers. Often, doing just a basic tenant improvement in these older buildings legally requires you to bring the rest of the space completely up to modern code. It's basically the construction equivalent of opening Pandora's box. This means surprise seismic retrofitting out of nowhere, super strict ADA compliance upgrades, and complex Title 24 energy requirements. An experienced local contractor actually knows this area's buildings and will flag these triggers right in their initial bid. An inexperienced one, well, they'll discover them after demolition has already started. And that distinction is the exact difference between a budget that holds steady and one that drifts completely out of control.
Moving right along to Section 3, choosing your construction model. How do you actually hire a team to get the job done?
And this brilliantly illustrates your two main paths here. First up is the design-build model. This means you sign just one single contract for both the architecture and the construction. The design intent and the construction reality are perfectly aligned from day one. That drastically reduces change orders because the pricing happens right during the design phase. Alternatively, you have the traditional model, a separate architect and contractor. This involves two contracts and, frankly, can introduce coordination friction between the designer and the builder. Now, the traditional model absolutely has its place, especially if you're doing a massive ground-up construction and want to use competitive bidding as a strategic lever. But our source makes it crystal clear that for most tenant improvements, like your restaurants and retail spaces in Culver City, the design-build model is faster, it's tighter, and it gives you one single point of accountability. No pointing fingers.
Section 4, vetting and evaluating bids. Let's look at the actionable steps for interviewing candidates.
Look, here are 3 absolute non-negotiable steps every single owner must take before signing any contract. Step 1, request their current CSLB, that's the California Contractors State License Board, license verification. Step 2, check their current general liability and workers' compensation certificates. And Step 3,
ask for a project list with actual addresses and references from just the last 24 months. The source notes something super critical here. If a contractor pushes back, makes excuses, or shows literally any friction whatsoever when you ask for these 3 basic documents, consider that a massive red flag and just walk away immediately. It's not worth it.
Okay, let's say they passed the document check with flying colors and you're calling their references. You want to speak to past clients who had a project really similar in size, budget, and scope to yours. But don't just ask, hey, did the project go well? Instead, ask this exact, ultimate secret question. What surprised you, and how did the contractor handle it? Because, let's be real, construction never goes perfectly according to plan. There are always surprises hiding behind the drywall. This question totally cuts through the fluff and uncovers a contractor's true problem-solving abilities and their integrity when things inevitably get complicated. So after you vet them, you're going to get a bid. But how do you know if it's actually a good one? Well, a truly good bid is highly specific. It features specific allowances and actually explains why they exist. It clearly separates your hard construction costs from soft costs like architecture and city fees. It features real contingency numbers, not just something quietly buried in a vague markup. And it identifies long lead items early so the schedule can be actively built around them. Remember what we discussed a minute ago. The lowest bid is almost never the one that finishes lowest. You want a bid that proves the contractor actually read your drawings, asked the hard questions during the bidding window, and surfaced issues that other bidders completely missed.
Finally, Section 5, Costs and Timelines. Time for some radical transparency on the numbers.
Let's break down the hard numbers here. For a base tenant improvement in Culver City, and this assumes you're starting with a basic vanilla white box shell, expect to pay between $350 to $700 per square foot in hard construction costs. Now, if you're starting from a raw, cold shell, you need to add another $60 to $130 per square foot just to get the space ready for your specific build-out. On top of all that, you have soft costs. This is architecture, engineering, and city fees, which add another 20 to 30% right on top of your construction total. To put that into perspective, it's a huge chunk of change. And keep in mind, if you're building a restaurant, you will absolutely be running on the higher end of these estimates because of complex kitchen exhausts, grease interceptors, and really strict health department requirements.
Let's move to and see how this builds out into a schedule. For a typical Culver City commercial project, you are generally looking at a 4 to 8 month journey. Point 1 is design start. Point 2 is entering the plan check phase with the city. Point 3 is the correction cycle. And point 4 is the finish line, finally receiving your certificate of occupancy. While plan checks in Culver City can often be faster than in the city of LA, it's point 3, that correction cycle, that drives almost all of your schedule risk. A contractor who already has strong relationships with the local building department can actually compress this timeline meaningfully by anticipating exactly what the inspectors want before they even have to ask for it.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up this explainer. Is your contractor already doing the work of building your project before they even win the bid? When you're reviewing proposals and conducting those interviews, look for the team that is already flagging code issues, identifying long lead materials, and solving your layout problems before you have paid them a single dime. Because at the end of the day, a true construction partner isn't just there to swing hammers. They are there to protect your business, your budget, and your timeline from day one. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will catch you next time.